Good morning and welcome to Presence of Light with Charlie Riverman Bergeron here on Humanity Healing. And it is with gratitude and joy that I greet you each Friday morning from this sacred space. Today's today's talk is really about embracing new dimensions, and that's the title. And it's interesting how a week builds up information that we receive and allows us to process bits and pieces of that as we are on this continuous pathway forward. What I love to bring to everybody is the positive energy of that, the ability to see beyond what the chaos is around us and within us, and to know that we have that power and that ability to connect to that dimension of ourselves that is now opening even wider, and information is flowing even more rapidly and steadily. So I'm not seeing anyone in the sidelines as yet. So hopefully this is going out to the world. And if not, I will continue anyway. The little symbol up there says live. Well, I am live. And it's good to be alive today, in spite of what we're experiencing. And, this little card that I pulled this morning, Nicoletta, thank you for reminding me that other people exist in the world other than myself. Blessings to you. This little card, it's a Gabriel card. It's not showing up very well on the camera. But the message from Shanta Gabriel is be willing to face the fears of the past and move into the new dimensions of love. And I have that resting on a crystal down here. And I want to send that energy to each of you is that message of to be willing, to be able to say yes, to be able to say yes to something that we don't fully understand, that might be challenging at the very least to accept. Many things are happening right now as we come out of this, for lack of better words, imprisonment of the coronavirus. And it's not over yet. It's, viruses have existed for longer than humans, really. But whenever there is a virus of this immensity, it changes everything for humanity. We are fortunate this time to have saved a lot of lives due to medical history and its discoveries. Yet in the past, many more did not make it through. So what we come away from as we move out of this, and it's not, again, not over by any means, it's going to continue. But what we've learned in this past year is sometimes very uncomfortable. And we need to look at something new. We need to look at something bright and filled with light and love. And that's the topic, embracing new dimensions. When I talk about dimensions, I look at ourselves as multidimensional beings, and we dwell in all of them, however many you may have been taught or understand. There is no right or wrong here. But knowing that we live in different dimensions of consciousness is helpful, because when we get weak in one, we can move upward into another. And that's how I look at it. I look at it layers of density, and the lower are more dense, and the higher dimensions and frequencies are much more open and informational. The informational flows more freely because the energy is free. We have this within our own body. This is nothing new. It's been studied in a lot of different ways, and it's been explained in a lot of different ways, scientifically, esoterically, each of which have their own concept. What's most important is that we recognize that we're far more than just a body with the brain and a heart that keeps us alive. The heart is the center, the energy center. It's not the brain. The heart is the energy center. And we've discussed this before, and I mentioned it last week. When the heart stops, the brain stops. So we last week explored the fact that we have the power, excuse me, allergies or something, pollen, everything's happening. So last week, we explored the fact that we are really not as powerless as we think we are, that we have the ability to heal ourselves. And it doesn't dismiss anything around us as far as healing modalities that are necessary when needed, but that the ultimate healing process is within. And only what's outside of us can help to facilitate that. But we are the masters and misters of this power. And this is the power that we we all are. And that we all need to be aligned with. And so when I look at each of us and I think about new dimensions and how do we embrace them, I'm first led to how do we prepare ourselves? It's a preparation. It's more of a preparation than the actual dimensional shift that's important. It's how do we prepare for this? And each of us have had moments of what we would call awakening to a new way of looking at something, or a new idea, or a teaching that we once learned years ago now suddenly has a different meaning for us. It's still the same frequency of energy as it was when we learned it years ago, but now it seems to have a little bit more power, or a little more brilliance, or a little bit more resonance with what we're actually experiencing. This is the dimensional shifting. It's embracing those and not fearing them, and realizing that it's a natural process that we're moving through, and welcoming. We need to welcome them into our physicality. If you look 20 years ago, many of us were awakening to some new thoughts and some new patterns of engaging with the world, so to speak. And at first they were very strange, and there was no credibility, and there was nothing based on fact or science to confirm what we were experiencing. Yet now, 20 years later, they seem like, wow, that was so simple. How did I not understand that? Why was I so confused and torn between, is it right, is it wrong? Prove it to me. We're now more easily able to accept the unknown or the foreign or the strange. This is our evolution. This is part of our evolution. This is part of embracing new dimensions of our experience. So if we think of this as experiencing dimensions of our experience, and knowing that within our experience, we have an amazing ability to shift and change, not only in healing our physical presence, but in accepting our energetic presence as well. That we are part of a greater multidimensional experience. And whether you believe in dimensions or not is not really necessary, because you're going to receive that energy anyway. Even the deniers of, everything will experience what is happening. So it's easier for us to learn to accept change, learn to accept newness, and think in terms of new ways of doing what the old way is failing to do. And the old way of doing things fails when we no longer are supporting each other, when we're no longer inviting each other into our energy fields, when we are no longer looking at ourselves as a collective whole, but singular individuals who need to defend their survival. And this is what the pandemic has done, has put us into survival mode. And the patterning of the brain goes automatically into fight or flight, sets up all kinds of rules and regulations, and commands us as the ruler of us to do things that on a beautiful day, a sunny day at the park or a playground as a child, you wouldn't even think of doing. Because what happens is we've lost our innocence. And innocence doesn't mean we're dumb or we're stupid. Innocence is the reflection of knowing that we have the ability to be peaceful. We have the ability to be kind. We have the ability to be loving, even in the worst situations. So every day becomes another opportunity to embrace the unknown without hesitation or having fear rise within us or around us and hold us as a prisoner. And this is what we're doing right now, is we're opening to these new dimensions of ourselves and learning to welcome them. And they're not easy. Many of them are very challenging because of our life pattern, whether it's 20 years on this planet or 70 years on this planet. Each one of us have a collective memory of whatever that is, and all of the things that diminished who we are as these amazing beings. So as we move out of this pandemic, what we see around us is everybody appears to be heading back into the same old patterns. And if you think about the old patterns, what did they contain? They contained violence, they contained greed. They are a collective energy that actually held us captive in our own homes, kept us separated from each other. And while there were benefits to that, there was also a very, very negative effect. And the message today is, let's not carry that negative effect any further. Let us awaken to the new dimension that we are given life again. And now, how do we live that more in alignment with who we truly are, rather than what the world sees us, unfortunately, sometimes as a commodity? And I don't like saying those words. I really don't like saying those words, but I witness them, and you do as well. And it bothers you just as much as it bothers me, but you may be able to deny it a little bit better than I can. So today, let's hold a vision for the future, a concept that's in alignment with what we would call a dimensional shift that not only serves those who lead the world and manage the systems of our environment and our sustainability, but one that's in balance and harmony for the future generations of humanity, not just our generation, the generation that is not even born yet. We have the power within us as we heal ourselves. As I said last week, as we heal ourselves, we become the healers of the future. We set the path, we align the path of energy for it to be picked up and continued. And that's our responsibility now, is to step into that place within ourselves and look at what is distorted in our lives and say, I have power over this. I don't have to follow that anymore. I am strong enough to change with the environment and the whole of the planetary consciousness. So I wrote a sort of a steps that we can do this with. So bear with me, and I will notice you who is in the columns: Nicoletta, Janice, Kathy, Tina, Laurie, Victoria. Bless you all, dear hearts, and thank you for being present this morning. And so I want us all to just take a deep breath, and just relax. Exhale, just come to that place of allowing the tension of our bodies to just relax. Instead of the elastic band being taut, let's let it come back to its natural form. And as I say these words, I want you to feel them within your body. I want you to recognize that the person in you that is saying these and reciting them or hearing them is much more than just ears and eyes and hands and feet. It is something that is so powerful that when it's aligned with others in this highest energy frequency, it changes and has the power to change everything. And it's who we really are. So let's begin by saying to ourselves, I am whole. I am powerful. I am alive in this physical form. I call forth every cell of my body to align with the highest good for myself and all life forms here on our beloved Mother Earth. Let me remember my truth and release all that is keeping it from being expressed within every breath I take. Take that breath. Take that deep breath. I am the presence of love and light shining here and now from the new dimensions of humanity. Feel yourself lifting into a field of energy that is not quite understood right now. Feel that energy and notice the difference between who we are in this moment and who we have the potential of becoming. Listen to our hearts and bodies. Listen to them more closely and honor them without the fear of ridicule and punishment that others have and may still continue to react to us with. As we are in this place, I want you to remember that we are here to co-create the future by embracing the information coming in to our conscious awareness from the new dimensions that we are now entering and anchoring them for future generations. Take another deep breath as a sigh of relief. And if you have left your body at that, come back into it. Come back into the present moment where we're here on Humanity Healing, having this conversation. And know that each one of us are far more capable of assisting and embracing others than we have given ourselves credit for. And as each of us move into the new world around us, let us remember that right now we are suffering from what my beloved sister Grace said yesterday, personal and collective separation. And yesterday in the Global Heart Team, that was the message of sending the love to the world about, was to heal the personal and collective separation of all of humanity. And when we do these meditations, we're not picking one country or one person or one situation. We look at the collective whole of planet Earth and every living human being on it as part of one body, just like the cells in your body are part of your one body. And while the white blood cells may not like the red blood cells over here, and et cetera, et cetera. When we look at that and we wonder why we don't feel good, hello, it's the same thing we're doing outside of us. What's outside is within. And all I can do with the outside is send love and light to that. And in that moment, I'm actually sending it to myself. And this was my writing from yesterday. And I've posted on Facebook, on the Global Heart Team, and my own page. But this is how it reads. Aligning with the energies of our physical heart, we begin a journey of understanding and reparation, ever deepening into that which is the cause of our separation, not only from each other, but from our true self as well. Take a few moments each day to sit in nature and be still, listening for the mind to wander into its storytelling and its ever noisy planning of events which may bring about fear, or better yet, the old patterns of our behavior within our families. Each of us has unique expressions of the very same issues, which keep us separated and unwilling to release what is not needed any longer, in order to see ourselves once again in each other, no matter what shape, color, or culture we embrace as our ancestral heritage. Let us make a commitment to change our lives and send love to ourselves through each other, and let the healing begin with gusto. Just breathe that into your heart. I'm just going to repeat the last part of that. Let us make a commitment to change our focus and send love to ourselves through each other. And let the healing begin with gusto. That's what I call embracing new dimensions. A new dimension of thinking ourselves not in separation, thinking ourselves as part of each other, and each one of you as part of me. And what I send to me, I send to you. And what I send to you, I send to me. The reciprocity is amazing. And in that moment, we eliminate separation. In that single thought pattern, that energy wave of the brain, which is brought forth through the heart, changes the dimension that we exist in. It may sound ridiculous. It may sound impossible. It may sound foolish. It may defy all the rules and regulations you've ever read. It's time to step out of the rules and regulations that we've been reading, because the rules and regulations have put us where we are. And the major point of all of this is to return to your sovereign self, the being of peace, light, and love that you truly are. No matter where you live, how much money you have, whether you have food to eat or not, know that you are precious. You are so precious right now. And you have a beautiful place to play a role in the shifting of the consciousness of humanity. And with that said, may you really welcome yourself home and know that there is many ways to achieve this, and there's no one right way. It's the way that your heart guides you, not your head. Follow your heart. And when the conflict comes up in your head, take that moment as a signal to stop. I believe I said it last week, go out in nature. And if not, I say it all the time. Get out in nature. Spend time in nature. Connect your energy with Mother Earth, whether it be through the trees, through the clouds, the wind, the water, doesn't matter, but some natural form of energy. Reconnect. And remember that that's who you are on many, many levels. You just have the great ability to have a brain that becomes consciously aware of it. So may your conscious awareness be what you use after you experience your heart. Let's place our heart first and have our consciousness listen. Bless you. So, and we have blessings, grace and peace to one and all. Thank you for that. And again, offer grace and peace to everyone, even the people that are not very pleasant to us. Reiki hugs, yes, for those of you who do Reiki, send it out to the world as a collective and gather in groups to do this. That's what the Global Heart Team is about. We send out heart resonance and light and love, particularly to the world, just as a collective in a collective meditation. And you can form your own groups with your friends and people who are like-minded. And again, the message is that what we offer to others, we're offering to ourselves. So let's be very careful and start with sending it to ourselves so that we may send it out to others and know that that's sort of those are guidelines to keep it clean, to keep it pure, why would we wish somebody else harm by wishing ourselves harm? It's really what you choose for yourself, you're actually choosing for the rest of the world. Thank you for sharing. Good morning. You're welcome. Good morning. Be well. And Margaret, my sister, a little north of me here in Maine, it sounds like we're being called to active duty in the Army of Unity. We are unity. An army, well, let's call it family, the family of unity. I'm not going to war. There's no war. The only war is outside of us. And that war outside of us creates a war within us. We're just mirroring. We're not, in that moment, we're just following orders. We're just simply puppets in a show of marionettes. Let's stop being the puppets. Let's come back into the truth of who we truly are, which I'm going to describe in one word: amazing. Again, I always go a few minutes over. I can never keep it to a half an hour, probably because I love you all so much. And so find ways to make these changes easy for yourself. You know, and start with small changes, simple changes. When things come to your awareness that you're doing that seems to be out of alignment with that inner self, just take a stop for a moment and say, no, I don't think I want to do that anymore. It doesn't serve any real purpose for me. And move beyond it and honor yourself. Put yourself on that pedestal. Put yourself on the front of that stage and sing your hearts out. Sing your hearts out to the world. They'll hear. And as they hear, you hear. Once again, I'll see you next Friday. Next Friday I probably won't see you. Unfortunately, well, I can't say unfortunately. As it is, I will be in a medicine hoop ceremony with Grandmother Sasa, and I may come on Thursday. I'll see if I can come on Thursday morning instead of Friday next week. I think that's probably the best solution. So, and that medicine hoop is for all humanity. So it's an indigenous grandmother, an Abenaki grandmother, and it's an honor to be asked to be in that circle. And I thank all of you who show up, because it's an honor to be in this circle with you. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. I am you. You are me. We are unity. That one loving heart. We have always been. We've just forgotten who we are. May your week be filled with blessings and synchronicities and light and laughter and joy. Come back to a place of joy. If you're not feeling joy, ask yourself why. And that's a place to begin right there. Why am I not feeling joy? And then start looking and blessing and releasing all of the things that are standing in the way from you feeling joyous. Thank you. Have a great week. Blessings to all. Blessings to your families and blessing to your children and blessings, blessings, blessings. We'll see you next week. I think I'm going to make it Thursday. So, and if not, it's always in the archives here on Humanity Healing. So you can always catch it later. Okay? Have a great week. See you then. Bye-bye.